What if I told you that investing doesn't have to be complicated? That navigating through thousands of stocks, ETFs, and strategies might actually be hurting your returns? Imagine staring at a restaurant menu with 500 items. That's what many investors face daily. In this video, I'm going to show you why most investors are overcomplicating their portfolios and how a single ETF could potentially turn your $10,000 investment into more than $1.2 million. If you've been feeling overwhelmed by investment choices, you're about to discover why simpler is often better, and the 3 key criteria that separate wealth-building investments from the rest. Ready to clear away the confusion? Ever feel overwhelmed staring at thousands of investment options? You're not alone. Today's investor faces a dizzying array of choices. With over 2,800 ETFs, 4,000 mutual funds, and thousands of individual stocks available at the click of a button, it's no wonder so many people feel stuck when trying to build their investment portfolio. Remember the last time you went to a restaurant with a 20-page menu? You probably spent more time deciding what to eat than actually enjoying your meal. The same psychological trap affects investors, but with much higher stakes than ordering the wrong entree. Take my friend Michael, who spent 6 months researching investment options for his first $10,000. By the time he finally felt ready to invest, the market had already risen 15%, a missed opportunity that cost him real money. Modern investment platforms have made it incredibly easy to access global markets. With just a smartphone and a few dollars, you can invest in practically anything, from Brazilian small-cap companies to Japanese real estate to American tech giants. This unprecedented access was supposed to democratize investing, but it's created a significant problem: choice overload. This abundance of options actively hurts your returns. Behavioral finance researchers have discovered something counterintuitive. Having too many investment choices leads to worse performance for most investors. When faced with overwhelming options, our brains struggle to process all the variables, resulting in poor decision-making or complete decision avoidance. Think about what happens when you're trying to pick the perfect investment. You research for hours, comparing historical returns, expense ratios, and risk profiles. You read articles about promising sectors and economic forecasts. After all that work, you're often no closer to a decision, or worse, you make impulsive choices based on recency bias or fear of missing out. The mental gridlock has a name in psychology: analysis paralysis. It's the state where pursuing the perfect investment strategy becomes an endless cycle that prevents any decision at all. I've seen investors spend years researching the optimal portfolio while their money sits in cash, missing out on years of potential growth and compounding. What's particularly fascinating is that simpler portfolios tend to outperform complex ones over long time periods. An investor with a handful of well-chosen, broadly diversified investments often achieves better returns than someone juggling dozens of carefully selected individual positions. Numerous studies have documented how professional fund managers with highly complex strategies regularly underperform basic index funds over periods of 10+ years. The problem intensifies when investors fall into constant portfolio tinkering. Many believe they need to regularly switch investments based on recent performance or market conditions. This activity creates hidden costs through tax consequences, transaction fees, and poor market timing. Consider this real-world example. An investor who simply bought an S&P 500 index in 2010 and held it would have significantly outperformed the average actively managed fund that constantly adjusted holdings based on market forecasts. The difference wasn't small. We're talking about potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars for a reasonable-sized portfolio over that period. What if there was a simpler approach? What if investment success actually involved fewer decisions, not more? The evidence increasingly suggests that investment simplicity beats complexity when measured over decades rather than months. The investors who achieve the most impressive long-term results aren't typically those with exotic strategies or active trading patterns. Instead, they're often the ones who found a straightforward approach and stuck with it through market cycles. The 3 non-negotiable criteria for your forever ETF. The master chef needs only a few perfect ingredients, not a crowded pantry. The same principle applies to successful long-term investing, where identifying the rare ETFs with 3 essential qualities matters far more than chasing the latest market trends. While most investors obsess over recent performance numbers, the truly wealth-building ETFs share characteristics that seem almost boring, yet prove infinitely more powerful than your financial future. Just as a chef combines precise ingredients to create a masterpiece, our investment recipe requires 3 specific ingredients that work together synergistically. Think of these criteria as your financial mise en place, everything perfectly prepared before you begin cooking up wealth. Many investors focus exclusively on recent performance when evaluating ETFs. They chase last year's winners or jump into whatever sector is currently hot. This approach is like driving while only looking in the rearview mirror. It tells you where you've been, not where you're going. Historical returns matter, but they're only one element in a comprehensive evaluation. Let me share the 3 specific filtering criteria that eliminate over 90% of available ETFs from consideration, leaving you with only the highest quality options. The first essential ingredient is meaningful diversification. Your ideal ETF should contain hundreds of stocks across various economic sectors. This diversification serves 2 critical purposes. It protects you by spreading risk across numerous companies, and it maximizes your chances of owning exceptional market performers. Since a small percentage of stocks drive the majority of market returns over time, a broadly diversified ETF casts a wide net that captures these rare winners without requiring you to identify them individually. Building on this foundation, the second ingredient requires your chosen ETF to have a proven track record of at least a decade. This criterion focuses on resilience through different market environments rather than recent performance. Has this ETF successfully navigated both bull and bear markets? How did it perform during economic uncertainty? A 10-year history provides invaluable insight into how your investment might behave through various market cycles. ETFs without this history remain untested in financial storms. The final ingredient, often overlooked by average investors, is an extremely low expense ratio. These annual fees act like a small but persistent drain on your investment tank. Over decades, even tiny leaks can empty a significant portion of your wealth. Consider the mathematics. A $10,000 investment with a 0.03% expense ratio could grow to approximately $174,400 over 30 years at market returns. That same investment with a 0.5% expense ratio might only reach around $150,000. That's $24,000 in lost returns, more than twice your initial investment, simply due to slightly higher fees. This wealth erosion becomes even more dramatic with larger investment amounts. Every fraction of a percent in fees represents real money that compounds against you rather than for you over time. Lower fees mean more of your money remains invested and working for your future. When you apply these 3 filtering criteria, diversification across hundreds of companies, a minimum 10-year track record, and rock-bottom expense ratio, something remarkable happens. The overwhelming majority of available ETFs fail to make the cut, allowing you to focus on the select few that truly deserve consideration for a lifetime partnership with your money. This isn't about settling for mediocrity. It's about identifying excellence through criteria that matter for long-term success. When filtering thousands of ETFs through our 3 criteria, we're left with just a handful of genuine contenders. These elite few fall into 3 distinct categories, each with its own approach to building wealth. Think of these categories as different paths up the same mountain. They'll all get you to the summit, but the journey and view along the way will vary significantly. Broad market ETFs serve as the highways of investing. Wide, well-traveled, and reliable over the long haul. They track major market indices, giving you constant exposure to hundreds of companies in one purchase. VOO, which tracks the S&P 500, has delivered an impressive average return of 10.41% since its inception in 1957. That's over 6 decades of wealth-building performance through recessions, market crashes, and periods of economic uncertainty. Despite giving you access to the market's full volatility, Vanguard rates them only 4 out of 5 on the risk scale. They behave like a boat on the ocean. You'll feel the waves, but the tide generally moves in your favor. Dividend ETFs focus on companies that regularly share profits with shareholders. Funds like SCHD, VIG, and VIGI target companies with strong fundamentals and consistent dividend histories. These are the income-producing rental properties of the ETF world. They might not appreciate in value as quickly as other options, but they provide a steady stream of passive income along the way. What makes them particularly appealing is their behavior during market downturns. According to Morningstar data, they've historically provided more consistent income even when markets get choppy. This makes them especially valuable for retirement planning or if you value regular cash flow. And they accomplish this while maintaining reasonable expenses. SCHD has an expense ratio of just 0.06%, allowing most dividend income to flow straight to your pocket. Ever wonder which ETF category might deliver the most dramatic growth? Growth ETFs like SCHG, QQQ, and SPMO are the sports cars of investing, built for speed but requiring a steady hand. These funds target companies with above-average growth prospects, often in sectors like technology, healthcare, and consumer discretionary. The potential payoff? Historical average annual returns exceeding 20% during certain 5-year periods, more than double what the broader market has delivered. But this accelerated growth potential comes with significantly larger price swings, soaring during bull markets, but potentially declining sharply during corrections. If broad market ETFs feel like ocean waves, growth ETFs are whitewater rafting, exhilarating when things go well, but requiring a stronger stomach for rough patches. The fascinating part is how these categories perform in different market environments. During bull markets, growth ETFs typically lead the pack. During bear markets, dividend ETFs often provide some downside protection through their income component. And what about inflation periods? While conventional wisdom suggests dividend stocks might struggle, companies with pricing power, the ability to pass higher costs to consumers, often continue performing well regardless of category. When all factors are considered, consistency, risk-adjusted returns, and behavior through market cycles, broad market ETFs, particularly those tracking the S&P 500, demonstrate the most reliable performance for buy and hold investors. Their blend of growth potential, moderate income, and historical resilience makes them the foundation of many successful portfolios. Among the thousands of ETFs available today, one particular investment vehicle consistently rises to the top of financial experts' recommendations. It's not because of aggressive marketing or flashy performance claims. It's because this single ETF delivers everything a long-term investor needs in one elegantly simple package. Now that we've explored various ETF categories, let's see why one option stands head and shoulders above the rest. When Warren Buffett was asked what the average person should invest in, his answer wasn't exotic hedge funds or complex strategies. It was low-cost S&P 500 Index Fund. VOO, Vanguard's S&P 500 ETF, stands out as the gold standard in this category. What makes VOO special? It instantly diversifies your investment across 500 of America's largest companies, established industry leaders that collectively power the American economy. Many generate substantial portions of their revenue globally, giving you international exposure without the volatility of direct foreign investments. VOO's rock-bottom expense ratio of just 0.03% means for every $10,000 invested, you pay only $3 annually in fees. This seemingly small detail becomes monumentally important when viewed through the lens of decades-long investing. Consider the journey of a typical investor who spent years jumping between trending stocks, constantly checking financial news, and second-guessing decisions. After switching to VOO as their core investment, they not only experienced more consistent returns, but regained countless hours previously lost to market research and worry. The S&P 500 has weathered every imaginable crisis since 1957, from the Cuban Missile Crisis to Black Monday, the dot-com crash, the 2008 financial meltdown, and the COVID-19 pandemic. Each time, the index not only recovered, but eventually reached new heights, demonstrating the resilience that makes it the ultimate set-it-and-forget-it investment. VOO delivers both growth potential and meaningful income through its approximately 1.5% dividend yield that has historically increased over time as companies grow their profits and distributions. This combination creates a powerful wealth-building engine that works in virtually any economic environment. The math behind VOO's simplicity is genuinely eye-opening. Historical average returns of 10.41% would transform $10,000 into approximately $25,937 after 10 years, $67,275 after 20 years, and $174,494 after 30 years. The power of simplicity leading directly to financial success. Taking that same initial investment but adding just $500 monthly, about what many spend on restaurant meals or subscription service, could potentially grow your portfolio to over $1.2 million after 30 years. This isn't financial magic, it's the mathematical reality of compound growth applied to a proven investment vehicle. The S&P 500 delivers these returns by capturing the collective innovation, productivity, and profit growth of America's most successful companies decade after decade. While flashier investments might temporarily outperform during certain market cycles, VOO has demonstrated the ability to consistently deliver solid returns through every imaginable economic scenario. This reliability makes it the cornerstone of so many successful long-term investment strategies. What's perhaps most remarkable about VOO is how it simplifies your entire financial life. Instead of constantly researching stocks, timing market entries and exits, or worrying about sector rotation, you're essentially buying the productivity of the entire American economy in a single transaction. This simplicity doesn't just save time and stress. It typically delivers better results than most actively managed approaches. For anyone building wealth over decades rather than months, VOO represents the rare intersection of simplicity, proven performance, and extremely low costs, the very qualities that make it the ideal core of a long-term investment portfolio. We've reached the end of our journey, and the truth is beautifully simple. One ETF, consistent contributions, and patience are all you need. Imagine the freedom. No more endless research, second-guessing, or sleepless nights wondering if you've made the right investment choices. Take control of your financial future today. Open an account and set up an automatic investment plan for VOO, perhaps the simplest financial decision you'll ever make, yet potentially the most powerful. Just $500 a month creates momentum through compound growth that can transform your life. While Wall Street pushes complexity, the wealthy understand that simplicity, consistency, and time are the true ingredients of financial success. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is now.